Topic of all right, Radhe Radhe. Good morning, good evening again to all of you. A very warm welcome. So we'll get started. We will talk about why this material ocean, the material world is considered as a vast ocean. And of course, when you are in an ocean, you need something to cross over that ocean or to navigate that ocean. And that is where our discussion is going to center around today. Thank you again for a wonderful session, Smitaji and Harishi. So let's get started today. I'll share my screen and we will get underway by invoking the blessings of God and Guru. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, we'll do our opening prayers and then we'll get underway. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. So Radhe Radhe, a very warm welcome again. So let's get started. We are on Shloka, the next Shloka. Today we have moved on to why soul soup is coming before. Something is not right. Give me a sec. I'll fix that. Minor adjustment. We should be good to go. Okay, let me share that. Okay. So we are on Shloka 4.36. We concluded our discussion on 4.35. So I'm going to recite it and you're welcome to follow along. Api chedasi papebhyah सर्वेभ्यः पापकृतमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजीनं सन्तरिष्यसि. All right, we'll take a few hands.
Radhe Radhe Sandhya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe. Api chedasi papebhyah सर्वेभ्यः पापकृतमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि.
Nice, thank you. Yes, Riya ji.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Api chedasi papebhyah सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव वृजिनं सन्तरिष्यसि. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Okay, so let's get started. We don't have many hands, so in this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, even those who are considered the most immoral of all sinners can cross over this ocean of material existence by seating themselves in the boat of divine knowledge. There are a lot of things that can potentially be covered here, so I'll cover one aspect of it today. So first thing is saying that even if you consider yourself, or if somebody is the most immoral person, most immoral sinner, they also have an ability to cross over this ocean of material, and the material existence is equated to an ocean by seating themselves in the boat of divine knowledge. Too many things. Each aspect can have a discussion of its own, but we'll try to cover it as holistically as possible. So today we will talk about why this material world is called an ocean, right? And what it is fraught with certain things, and those are the things we are going to focus upon today. Okay, so let's get started with our soul soup segment. So today's Soul Soup segment will continue on this Success, Happiness and Fulfillment series, and we've been posing this: how do we inspire ourselves spiritually? One is, how do we inspire ourselves spiritually? If you don't have feel any spark to invest on ourselves spiritually, and then golden chance is passing away. We've been continuing. So to add on to that, I will tell you another story here today. Okay, why we think this golden chance is passing away. So you see this gentleman doing some activity here. I'll tell you a story around it. So there was a fisherman who left his home with his fishing net and before dawn. So right now, it may not seem like dawn and may not look dark, but just assume it is dark. Okay. So this fisherman came with his fishing net and he reached the stream, decided to wait there until it was dawn, until the sun comes out. And then, so that there's a sufficient light, and then he can cast his net into the river. Then he sat down upon a boulder and on the river bank. His feet were in the, he was just sitting by the bank, and he relished that pre-dawn quietude that we generally have. And then he realized there was a bundle of, there's a bundle on the riverbed under his feet. So he casually picked it up and put his hand in it, and he found something, something hard and round objects inside it. But because it was dark, he could not make out what is inside it, but it seemed like stone. So just to, pass his time, he casually took out one pebble and tossed it into the river. And there's a sound that comes out when you throw something, click, plop kind of a thing, which he enjoyed. It fell into the water. He enjoyed that sound. So he said, all right, it was pleasing to the ear. So he continued that. He took out another pebble and threw it casually into the water. It became like a game and to pass time while he was waiting for the dawn to break. And he had thrown 24 pebbles into the water, right? Until there was only one pebble left in his hand. And there was sufficient light to see what that pebble was. So he cast a glance on what he was throwing at, and he was shocked to discover that it was a priceless jewel. It was a very precious stone that he was throwing all this while. Now he ruled his reactions, and he said, God gave me 25 such precious gems, and 24 of them I've already thrown away. Now, how unfortunate I am, he cried. He started crying because he has already thrown them into the water. Now, in this particular story, the fisherman had a benefit of retaining one for himself. There were 25 actually, because he became cautious and he understood what it is. But then for us, we don't have that. Once we waste, in our case as well, we have 24 such precious stones that God has endowed or gifted us in a day. And if we keep throwing it away into the water by doing mundane activities alone, then it's what a waste. So Ramayana says that, "O humans, you have received this rare birth and wasting it in sensual gratifications." Okay. It says that, and if it's like giving away the nectar and taking poison in return. How can you be considered intelligent when you are exchanging Paras, philosopher's stone, for broken pieces of glass? And if we continue to do that, we will keep rotating in 8.4 million species. So now we will move on to the topic for the day. But I hope with these series that we had on the golden chances passing away, we are able to appreciate the value of time and the value of human birth that we are endowed with, and how we can make the best use of it rather than letting it fritter away meaninglessly by doing mundane activities or investing our time in mundane thoughts alone. So with that said, let's move on to our topic of discussion today. Now, one would say that, why do we need to invest spiritually? I'm happy in my life. A lot of people give this argument. Why? Give me a reason. Why should I? Why to take the trouble, or not even trouble? Who has seen life after death and stuff like that? So today we will talk about why our scriptures are telling us that it is like a vast ocean that you need to navigate. And what are the things that we'll have to contend with if we choose to continue to float in this ocean? So let's get the discussion going with a little bit of Okay, so you see this, something is going on here. Deluge of water. So how is this material world similar to a vast ocean? Okay, why is it equated to a vast ocean? Let's get the thought process going before we get into the discussion. Anybody who wants to say anything about it? Yes, Jyoti.
Radhe Radhe Jyoti ji.
You raised
Radhe
your hand
Radhe.
before the
Ra-
question was posed, so that was very quick. Go ahead.
so to me, it looks like that material world keep coming toward us, even though we try hard to stay away from it. It keeps engaging us.
Keeps engaging us. Okay, that's an interesting take on it. It keeps engaging us,
And
or
coming up over and over again, just like sea waves.
okay, all right, fair enough. Let's hear from Sandhya. Go ahead, Sandhya. Thank you, Jyoti. Yes, Sandhya.
Ocean has so many things in it which can, I think, distract. So that same way, our material world is also full of distractions if we are not focused
Yeah.
on what we want in our life, something like that. Yeah.
True. So just imagine if anybody has gone for a cruise or a sea voyage, they would see that the sea is pretty vast. If you look at the expanse of the sea, you can only see horizon, right? It seems like never ending. It's a bhav sagar. Like you have Jammu Tavi. I think people who have traveled in train or who are from Jammu, they'll know that Jammu Tavi. Scriptures are telling us this world is Bhavatavi. Okay, Bhavatavi. So it's like a bhav sagar, infinite, expansive. There doesn't seem to be any end to it. And sea, it can be very intimidating as well. Why? Because it is fraught with dangers. You could have shark. Then, if you have the waves or it becomes turbulent, it can be very treacherous. I remember when I went to Goa once, so I was very fascinated by sea. And there's something called a banana ride there. Banana ride is they take you pretty deep into the water. They tie you to a rope, and then they will turn you upside down with a life jacket on. Okay, they have you tied with a rope. Yeah, they'll not let you die for sure. But then it's a pretty interesting experience. They'll put you there, and all you are supposed to do is um, just lie down calmly, and you will float. So they took me, and I had paid them $500 or something like that, which promised me not six, but three drops. And they dropped me there, and that day the sea was a bit turbulent. Okay, I'm probably using it as an excuse, but even if it was not turbulent, I managed to somehow put myself upside down, not on my back. And then I started choking. Okay, I'm although I'm a Piscean, but I'm very scared of water. I don't know how it happened, and I started struggling there. And that guy figured out this guy's he'll be dead unless I intervene. So he took me out. Okay, and he carried me back. Not carried me back. Took me. Made basically he started floating along with me, and I was okay after that. And then the boat started moving, and I was thinking, okay, now I'm safe, kind of a deal. But guess what happens? He takes us even further deep, and again puts me like that. And then another wave, it puts me back into water, and I started choking and struggling. And he said, "What did you do?" He said, "Sir, you have paid me $500. You have to do it 3 times at least." I said, "You keep the money, but don't do that to me anymore." So the point here is, that is anyway something that you wanted to experience, but the world is something like that. It is fraught with dangers at every step. Okay, not and what are those dangers that we have to contend with? People say, why do we need to invest spiritually? We'll do it when we grow old and stuff like that, or we are more than happy. We enjoy party, do potlucks, we have friends, family, everything is supportive to us. And what if there are some challenges? What's a big deal? Everybody has their cup of sorrows and good things happening in this life, so that's not a big deal, right? So those arguments that they give, let's try to understand this world, how it goes basically, and which nobody is immune to. What our scriptures are telling us about this bhavatavi, or this world, how or why it is equated to an ocean, because it is fraught with dangers. And what are those dangers is what we are going to talk about. Yes, Rahul, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. There are few comments in the chat. Vaniji says that there is no end for the material desires. Similarly, there is no end to the ocean.
Right.
And then iPhone Ganpriyaji says the material ocean is more powerful than our individual mind and can drown us fully.
True. There are a lot of analogies or parallels you can draw if you think about it. But yes, that is how. Other way of looking at it is if you look at this ocean, right, there are so many waves rising of it, right? So the waves in themselves do not have a relationship with each other. The waves only have a relationship with the ocean only. And then they subside. And they keep, rotating around basically in an infinite loop kind of a thing. Yes, Sandhya, you wanted to add something?
There was a comment from Kumarji. He's saying we are a boat in the ocean of Sansar where we have the highs and lows.
We are the boat. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll talk about the boat that we need actually to cross over this ocean. Okay, that is also part of the discussion we are going to have. We definitely need a boat. Do we really have a boat here that will help us navigate through it? Because the purpose of the boat is not to get tossed around. The purpose of the boat is to take you to a safer harbor or a proper destination. So we'll see what is the boat you can have on this in this vast ocean that we are um, um, kind of stuck in at this point. Yes, Preeti ji, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, it's like a guru is our navigator of the boat that
Yeah.
takes us from the immense material, from the Maya and take it on to the other side in a safer way. Like without the guru, your boat is going here and there and everywhere in the ocean of
Is
Maya.
the captain of our boat. Boat is something else. Okay, we'll talk about the boat too. So Guru is navigating that boat. However, the boat is a support that he gives, and we'll talk about that as well. Okay, that is going to set the context for the session today or possibly the next one. So let's continue with that. But thank you, Preeti ji. So let's move on. Now, what does Bhagavatam says? Shrimad Bhagavatam, right? We have picked up the shloka and it says that materialistic activities are always mixed with three kinds of miserable conditions: Adhyatmik, Adidevik, and Adibhautik. Therefore, even if one achieves some success by performing such activities, what is the benefit of this success? One is still subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease, and the reactions of the fruitive activities. Now, people say that living in this world is perfectly okay. All right, that is fine. But think of it. How much treacherous or dangerous it could be when you don't have enjoy any kind of an immunity from birth, death, old age, and disease. Okay, birth is painful, by the way. We have forgotten it. Death is also painful. We have forgotten it. Old age, nobody can revert. Okay, it's just waiting for you. And disease, nobody can avoid. You can prolong your life. You can live responsibly. You can make healthy choices. But finally, the disease will catch up with you. Okay, there's no way you can escape disease. There's a story about this guy, right, who's going through the jungle in the twilight time or in the middle of a night. And then when he's going, he sees that there is a witch which is coming from the other end. And it is saying, not the witch, but the dangerous, ferocious animals that start chasing it. When he starts running in the other direction, there is a witch who says, "Come, meet me." She's willing to embrace him. Then he goes in the third direction. What happens is he trips, there's a rope, and he hangs upside down on a tree. And when he's hanging upside down, he sees there's a snake below. And when he's just processing all that information that, hey, there's a snake waiting for me, and there's a witch on one side, and there's animals on the other side, to his sheer good luck, what happens? The rope through which he's hanging, there are two rats, black and white. They start nibbling away the rope and pushing him towards the snake. And to make the matters even more interesting, there are honeybees which start stinging him on his face in the midst of all of this. And guess what? This guy is smiling. Why is he smiling? Because there's a bit of honey that is falling on his face and he's licking it and just enjoying it. So the philosophers, they got together and said, hey, what's going on with this guy? Has he lost it completely, or how can he enjoy in such a precarious situation? And you all may be thinking this guy is a lunatic, but doesn't have any sense at all, which is fair, fine. If that is the good news that, we are thinking, not good news, but the fact of the matter is that that guy is none other than us. Okay, I'll tell you how. Going through the treacherous path or the jungle is life. This Bhav Sagar, or this ocean that I'm talking about, or the forest, which is fraught with dangers at every step. That is our life, human life, as scriptures say. The animals that are chasing, ferocious animals, those are diseases, okay, which are following us. So Brahmaji has given us a freebie or a bonus up to maybe 25-30 years. You can enjoy it, and then after 35-40, your body will start knocking, hey, diabetes and then cholesterol and hypertension and all that stuff. So you have to maintain it, you have to earn your health, but it's just a matter of time before some disease will catch up with you. You can live healthy, that is fine, but finally, whether it's 75, 80, 85, some disease will catch up with you, and you have to you have no choice but to get caught by it. Then on the other side, there is a witch. They said, come, I'm ready to embrace you. That witch is what? Old age. Old age is every day is waiting to embrace you. Okay, so they say in Hindi, there is a saying which says, Jo aakar na jaye, wo budhapa, or jo jaakar na aaye, wo jawani. So something that once which comes, never goes, is old age, and something once goes, never comes back, is your youth. So that is also waiting for you. Then the snake is your final destination. We all know, death, which is shedding of the gross body. So you don't have to worry about too much. The rats, the black and white, which are nibbling away the rope, are day and night. Right? Every day and night is pushing us towards that snake. So every rotation of Earth that happens, which seems very innocuous actually, is actually pushing us gradually towards the death. And in the midst of all that, those honeybees which are stinging are our desires. Do this, have this, enjoy this. I wish I had it. Why didn't this happen? Oh my God, this person, all those hankerings and stuff that is stinging us. And that little bit of honey, the relish that we get from that one thing that happens when India wins the semifinals, or, something like that happens, that we are enjoying, relishing, or we get that promotion, or we see that, Netflix flick or something like that. A little bit of thrill that we get is what we are enjoying, but our situation, if you look at it, is pretty precarious. So that is what our scriptures are telling us. Okay, so hope that puts things in perspective. So this is Bhagavatam is telling us. Now let's look at what is this Adhyatmik, Adidevik, and Adibhautik. So these are called, our scriptures are telling us, these are called tritaps. Tritaps, threefold miseries. What are these threefold miseries that nobody enjoys any immunity from? First is Daihik tap, which is called Adhyatmik. Second is, I'll go into details for that as well, Daivik tap, which is also called Adi Bhautik, and then Bhautik tap. Anyways, I'll get into that. So Jeev, before God realization, okay, if you have cut asunder the shackles of Maya, then these are not applicable to you. Then you enjoy a blanket immunity from all of these. But if you have not realized God, you are still under the shackles of Maya, or you are Mayadheen, then you have to deal with it. It's very simple. It's like if you're in prison, if there is a set of punishments which are meted out to them on a daily basis, punishments or something that you are subjected to the rules of the prison house. Similarly, you are subjected to this. Okay. Let's look at these in detail, a little more detail. And after you go to the divine abode, once you have cut asunder the shackles of Maya or realized God, then they don't exert any power over you at that point. So let's understand what is Adhyatmik, the Tritap, number one. You see, people stress out. Anybody here who thinks they've never stressed out? Not possible. There are so many seminars that happen on stress management, how to handle worries, tensions, anxiety and all that. Nobody is immune from that. Then of course, the physical ailments, somebody has a heart attack, or a heartbreak. Anything can happen. Heart attack is more serious. Heartbreak is, so you can get over that. Not a big deal. We had 140 crore people have a common heartbreak a few days back when India lost the finals. But that is something you can overcome. Okay, heart attack you cannot. I mean, it's very dangerous. Then, of course, the problems like I'm suffering from, I'm still feeling the after effects of it, not completely recovered. You have cold and other things that will come. Diseases are there. And then, of course, migraine pain, sinus, and all that stuff, right? Can anybody get out of that? They can claim that, we are immune from it completely. Nobody can. These are called adhyatmic. Which is bodily suffering or mental anguish that you have to deal with. If you are Maya Dhin, you have not cut asunder the shackles of Maya as yet, you have not surrendered to God, you have to deal with it. Okay, this is one of those. These sufferings are mental diseases, anger, passion, greed, ego, confusion, physical diseases, cough, fever, cancer, and all those kind of tridosh, imbalance of tridosh, that is cough, vat, and pit. All those tridosh you have to deal with. The mental agony caused by worries, anxieties, attachment, aversion, and they all these things you have to deal with. Hereditary diseases like leprosy, disabilities, blindness, lameness, diseases caused by the violation of the rules of health and sanitation, they are classed under this. Does anybody has an immunity from this? No. Should we be surprised that it has happened to us and complain to God? No. It's something you'll have to deal with. You have signed up for it lifetime after lifetime. Now, Jyoti was saying that material world has engaged us. As scriptures tell us, is actually just the opposite. We don't want to get out of it. It's like one of those horror movies. Although you're getting scared, but you have paid the ticket and you want to enjoy it. You're getting scared, but you want to finish the movie. So similarly, we have no intention to get out of it. Okay, we want to enjoy something. We have some desires and unfulfilled desires or things that we always cherished, or we thought, I wish I had that, and then that would have made me happy. And all those things, things that secret stash accumulated. God, like an indulgent father, keeps us, makes us repeat here to fulfill those desires. So we think that the world is engaging us. On the contrary, we are holding on to the world. We don't want to get out of it. Okay? God says, when you truly want to get out of it and you want to meet me, I'll meet you. I'm in no hurry whatsoever. Same thing that I think I have spoken about this before as well, but no harm in repeating it again, that Lord Ram asked what is Maya to his guru, Sage Vashisht. The moment he asked this question, Sage Vashisht, he grabbed hold of a nearest tree and hugged it tightly and started screaming, leave me, leave me, leave me. So Ram said, what happened to my Guruji? And asked him, Maya, and he's hugging and clinging to a tree and saying, leave me, as my Guruji lost it. They said, Guruji, what's going on? He said, this is exactly what Maya is. You say Maya has held on to you, but you only have held on to, and you say you're not leaving me. So world is not engaging us. We want to be engaged. It's a choice we are making on a day-to-day basis. Okay. And when we say, no, I don't enjoy world, it's like something that you still want to enjoy world. Your mind will tell you you don't enjoy world, but you still want to experience. If your world improves, your conditions improve, you have absolutely no incentive to get out of it. You will still want to stay here. Nobody wants to meet God, actually. They want to enjoy life here. They want to enjoy life via God. And that is why God becomes a bit of a rebound for them. That, okay, God, I'll come to you because my life is kind of shaky right now. And but if we have a comfortable life, then God also knows we will absolutely never prioritize him. And that is why saints don't give you life. They know it's like poison. The more you get of it, the more you'll desire for it. And there would be no incentive for you whatsoever to prioritize God in your life in that sense. So this is the first kind of first pratap that nobody has an immunity to. What is the second one? Let's look at the second one, which is Adhi Bhautik. So we see that we get bitten by ants, red ants, and other kind of ants. We do that pesticide, pest control, and stuff like that. They're pretty famous here in Dallas. This can happen. It's pretty freaking scary, right? By the way, I'm scared of dogs. And I told you I was scared of water as well. And my worst nightmare is getting bitten by a dog inside water. Can you imagine if I have that nightmare? So these kind of things can happen. Other bhutas or jivas can inflict some trouble to you. Then, of course, pickpocketing can happen as well, right? If you have traveled in Delhi buses and trains, you would know what it means, but it can happen anywhere, by the way. And then, yes, somebody can put a gun to your head and do those kind of things as well. We see so many robberies and some of atrocities that get committed in this world, right? It could be bad timing, it could be prarabdha, it could be a combination of a lot of things, but those are the things nobody enjoys immunity from. You could have a bad timing. We see so many things happen in this world which do not make sense. Now it's very difficult to know it's law of karma in play, or is it the bad timing? Somebody is exercising their free will in a bad way, which will subject them to a really bad karma, right? Only one can only imagine the kind of price they would have to pay for it. Or it could be a rebound from their karma. We don't know that. But nobody has immunity from them. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
There is a comment from Prabhat Bhaiya. We cannot get rid of this situation, Adhyatmik, but we will not suffer if our heart, mind, and body are in the service of God and Guru.
Yeah, that's a state of mind for sure. But then, will a robber not rob you if that is the case? It may not impact you, affect you if you get robbed, because you will have acceptance around it. But will you enjoy immunity? Not necessarily, right? It's like, all right, I had gone on a pilgrimage, I had gone for a good cause. So will I enjoy an immunity from a robber or some mischief happening to me along the way? Not necessarily, is what I'm trying to say here. Okay. Your capacity or your perspective to deal with that might be different, but then that does not give you a blanket immunity from something, getting some kind of a harm perceived or otherwise getting caused by animal, snake, or anything like that. For example, somebody might be going on a pilgrimage, a snake may come along the way, right? And inadvertently, that snake might bite you. There's no immunity for that whatsoever, right? Those kind of things can happen. It is referred to as Adi Bhautik Tap, which is inflicted upon you from other humans, any animals, insects, right? Your boss shouts at you, and all of a sudden you are into a stress or a worry. Can anybody enjoy immunity from that? Nobody can. Yes, Rahul. But how you perceive it, how you take it, that is within your control. But you cannot control some of the things that are inflicted upon us by others. Yes, Rahul, you had a question?
Yeah. No. So there were two lines from Prabhatji, not for this slide, the earlier slide. He says, भर जाता है गागर में भवसागर जब मिल जाते हैं नटवर नाग.
That's true, very true.
Yeah, that was
We'll
from
talk
the
about that.
earlier slides.
How do you cross over the Bhavsagar and what our scriptures tell us? You say, even though it is a Bhavsagar, but then you can reduce it to a hoof, a water worth in the hoof of a calf, not even cow. Cow's hoof is bigger, calf's hoof is smaller. So they say that his whole Bhavsagar, which seems so immense and intimidating, can actually be reduced to a water worth hoof of a calf. How, we will talk about it later. And then the second tritap, like I'm talking about, is from the other bhutas, like humans, animals, insects, and all, which is inflicted upon us. And this also nobody enjoys an immunity. And it could be caused by boss at office, trustworthy friend, relative, in-law, family member, another driver on the road, Scorpio, etc. So we should not be surprised if that happens. Okay, that is also part of the deal when we choose to stay in Maya. Okay, it is like one of those things. This world itself is called, our scriptures have given a definition to this world. It is said that this world is Shashwatam and Dukhalya. There are two symptoms of this material world. Shashwatam means that it is temporary. It is temporary. Everything is temporary here. And Dukhalya means it's a place of suffering. We're not aware of it. It's actually truly a suffering because we have not experienced the other side of it. Until we go beyond Maya, it is actually a place of suffering. It's actually a prison house for the conditioned souls. Souls which have chosen to turn their back towards God. Right? I said that because we are Anu, like star, we got engulfed with ignorance. the date is dispelled, all of this will be, we will be away from this forever, perpetually and permanently. The third aspect that we'll have to deal with is called Adhidevik. What is Adhidevik? You see these hurricanes and tornadoes, all that stuff happens in Dallas. There's always a siren blowing around, right? Every few days, especially around June, July time frame. So all the hurricanes, tornadoes, the earthquakes, COVID-19 probably. I don't know if it was Adhidevik or Adhibhautik. If it was created in a laboratory in China, it was Adhibhautik. But if it is a natural variant, then it is Adhidevik. So all these viruses and stuff like that happens, this is called Adhidevik. And we don't enjoy an immunity from this as well. Yes, Rahul?
There are a few comments in the chat that people are saying Ashashwatam is temporary and Shashwatam is permanent.
Ashashwatam and
Yeah.
Dukha. Did I say Shashwatam? Yes, Ashashwatam. Sorry about that. Thanks for the correction. Ashashwatam and Dukhali. Yeah, that's right. Okay, I don't know why did I eat A. Maybe it's the cold after effect. But yeah, Adhidevik. So this is caused by Daiva, Devatas or Daiv. The word Deva includes the power of time, nature, and the unseen hand or fate. It could be anything. It's very difficult to know. Right? When we tinker with nature, sometimes in order to restore balance, nature can take corrective actions. That is how the design of this creation works. It's like, just think of it. If you abuse your body, you do something, then your body has a way to heal itself or take some kind of a corrective action. You may throw up, or your body may show some kind of a symptom in form of fever, and that is the way of, or the remedial action your body is triggering to correct the situation that it is in. Similarly, when we do a lot of deforestation, or we drill a lot of oil and we start causing natural imbalance, or if we do cloud seeding and stuff like that, it will have its after effect, right? Tsunamis, or what you call the droughts, or like we saw in Kedarnath, the soil, so much of deforestation that had happened, so many landslides and all that stuff happened. All these things are caused with because of multiple of factors. So this is another tap, one of the three taps that we have to deal with in this material world. So these are the sufferings caused by the nature, like storms, floods, drought, all that stuff. Diseases caused by the changing seasons. Misery caused by elemental forces like floods, fire, tornadoes, tsunamis, viruses, not man-made. Natural tribulations due to hunger, thirst, old age belongs to this group. So these are some of the reasons why we need to be really thinking seriously about where we are. Do we need to do something about it, or are we happy? Nobody has an immunity from it. For all you know that you may try to cross the road. Again, it's not about the Final Destination movie I'm talking about, but a crazy person can come and we know about all the things, and nobody has an immunity from that. So this place is called pretty a place which is fraught with dangers at every step. So with that said, which boat can help us navigate this vast ocean? That boat is basically the boat of divine knowledge. Okay, so how do you seat yourself in divine knowledge? It's like you put the knowledge and sit on top of it, like we sit on top of a boat. No, that has to be carried here in our intellect. And what we are doing in Bhagavad Gita is actually preparing that boat so that we can learn how to navigate through it. Okay, this ocean is there, but this ocean can be reduced, like I said, to a hoof of a calf worth of water, which can be crossed over easily. And God has promised it, when you use the boat of divine knowledge, then that will enable you to cross over this ocean. Otherwise, there's absolutely no way how you can do that. When we don't even know, see, you can diagnose something when we go to a doctor only if we are able to articulate or know what the ailment is. Doctor is able to understand, we are able to articulate, and then doctor is able to understand. Then only some diagnosis can begin. When we are not even aware of the problem, we don't even question we are in a problem, then how can the journey begin? So that is why, first of all, we have to understand that this game that we have been playing is something we deserve much better than that, and there is definitely a possibility around it, and that's where the process would start. And once we start making spiritual alignment a priority in our life, then we subscribe to the divine knowledge, and we subscribe to books like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or our scriptures under the expert guidance of a guru. And then this boat is getting prepared, which would make it an effortless journey along the way. Because these challenges will come from time to time. Nobody has an immunity to it until we become God realized. But then you will at least be equipped to navigate through it. We'll cover some more aspects of this discussion tomorrow. Any questions so far on what we have discussed? Does it give us a good incentive to think of possibilities beyond this material life, or are we still, we feel we are, it's kind of an interesting life already here? What's the point of thinking beyond? All right.
Chandraji is asking for showing the last slide.
Last.
Agi Devik.
Okay, sure.
Should be good, I guess.
Any questions? When I heard this for the first time, I was like, wow, our scriptures have so nicely, systematically told us the challenges that we are likely to face here, right? And there should not be any reason for surprise. We say, oh my God, this happened, accident happened, that happened, this happened. But they're already telling you, foretelling you, nobody's immune from it. They're already telling you it's a dukhalaya. They're already saying it's a prison house for the conditioned souls. So when you understand the big picture, then you do something about it and you see, all right, there is a way actually to break this matrix, and there's a way to face these challenges in a much more better way, as opposed to simply lamenting over it or being fearful about it or carrying a lot of worry, anxiety around it. These are part and parcel of where we are right now, but we can face it and then come out of it better and stronger as well. The good news is, this is the bad news. The good news is that the Honi aspect of it, let's say there's something in your prarabdha, right? God designs it in such a way that you can come out of it better and stronger only. So he'll not give you a test or something like that, which will happen that you are not able to get out of it. So he'll give you a test that you are eligible enough to qualify or pass out of. So that is a good thing out of it. It's not a means of punishment or anything, but if we have chosen this, we'll have to deal with these kind of things. These three are the part and parcel of material world, and nobody is immune from it. Yes, Rahul?
Radhe, Radhe. If there are no hands, we can make few announcements if time permits.
Sure. We can make few announcements. That's perfectly okay. I wanted to show you, see the kind of things that happen, and then we can get to the announcements. Like, for example, anyways, collective karma like this, right? 1,500 people died in maritime disaster, 705 individuals survived. We don't know why some people survived, so why some died. Then, anyways, we can talk about it later. I just wanted to touch upon this concept, and then let's do the announcements, and then we can take some questions which might be there around this topic.
Yeah, so the first announcement is about Swamiji's ongoing India tour. And right now he's in Pune, and over the weekend he will be in Mumbai. The links are already in the chat, so please check it out and try to avail that opportunity of meeting in person. Apart from that, on December 1st and 2nd, we will be having Tulsi Vivaha celebrations at RKT Dallas. So please check out the link, and I think online participation might be also possible, but yeah, that is also there. The other thing is about the Shivir, which will be happening in Tirupati at the end of January. So please check that out also. I will put the link and all the details in the chat. I think that's it for the announcement.
Thank you, Rahul. So it is that in human life, typically in a human life, even for you to have a material success or to do well materially, we have to do few things right. Not very few things right. As long as you're not doing a lot of things wrong. Okay, even to do few things right, you have to understand these higher principles. around what makes a successful life, or how to face adversities, or how not to do things which can make our mind brittle or anxious or full of worry. So regardless whether we want to achieve material success or spiritual success, we have to align to spiritual principles only, regardless. Right? Even now, when I was looking at the interviews leading up to the finals here, everybody was talking about in the cricket team focusing on process, focusing on process, focusing on process. We don't think go too far ahead about the results and stuff like that, right? But when it mattered most, I was reading that as a host country, they had a choice to pick up between two wickets in the final. If they had played on a true wicket, they would have normally picked up, which was a red soil wicket on that same ground. It would have been a wicket full of runs, and better team would have, the conditions and everything would have been taken out of equation. But they chose the second wicket. Now the result aspect is coming. How do we increase our odds of success or winning by playing to our strength and tapping into their weakness, kind of a thing? And that backfired. So when you get attached to the results and you try to, think too far ahead rather than focusing on the process, then the results may not be favorable, because now you're building that anxiety, worry, and all that stuff. So those principles are, anyway, they're applicable in whichever walk of life you are, whether you are a professional, you are dealing with a situation with regards to what you want to do, or otherwise. These principles are so profound that your experience itself would tell you that, how empowering it can be if you implement it both in letter and spirit. Yes, Sandhya, want to ask something?
Yes, two questions. One, so the situations of war, like say Israel, Hamas, and all that, that comes in the Adi Bhautik category.
See, the algorithm is very difficult. So it is, if you look at it, Adi Bhautik is like the misery inflicted upon you by other
Souls.
souls. So yes, if somebody is exercising their free will, it could be Adi Bhautik. However, having
It's
said
not
that,
natural disaster, right? I mean,
not natural disaster with the Adi Bhautik, but then even within that Adi Bhautik, it could be a collective karma versus individual karma also. We don't know. It's a pretty interesting algorithm, right? For example, Kashmiri Hindus and all that stuff happened, or the Holocaust that happened, the genocide of European Jews during the World War II. Now, it is Adi Bhautik because this is inflicted upon you by others. But then there might be a broader picture around it as well, because it may be part of the prarabdha as well. We don't know that. So you will have to go through that, because you're in the material world. That should be of no surprise. Why did you have to go through that? Nobody can know until we become conscious. Okay.
yeah.
Is it part of the bigger algorithm, collective prarabdha, clan prarabdha? When the whole aeroplane goes away, like I was showing previously, I picked it up. There was a maritime disaster that happened. You can look it up, this airline's flight or their other. So most of the passengers, they were killed, and 24 passengers, but all of it's 24, 3 survived. Now 1,500 people, when this thing happened, they died. 700, why did they survive and how did that's very difficult to know that. So there's a bigger algorithm in play here as well. But the point is, nobody enjoys immunity from any of these disasters.
Right. And my next question is, so once someone is God realized, but still has chosen to be in material world, to serve, they will experience these three taps. Like what changes? Their physical
Nothing
experience
changes.
or the
Nothing changes.
consciousness?
Nothing changes. When somebody comes down, and like the first thing is they're not obligated to. Now they have come down for a specific purpose. So when they come down for a specific purpose to honor the God's laws, they take on a prarabdha. The prarabdha that is already burnt, but they may choose pick up a drop out of that. They will choose a prarabdha out of it. Now they may have to go through it, but they will not. If they are Vidya, they don't feel anything at all. Right? These tormentations or the tribulations of the material world have no effect on them. For us, it may have. For them, it nothing. Like, for example, I told you an example of Maharajji. He was undergoing an appendicitis operation. Now he was given the, what do you call that? Anesthesia. And anesthesia is, once you give them, you are gone for that, right? And that operation was 4 to 6 hours, I believe. He was given anesthesia, had no effect at all. His eyes were open, and the doctors freaked out. What's going on here? But then he said, all right, tell me how long this will take. They said about 4 to 6 days. All right, I'll close my eyes. So they play along because they don't want to take a privilege just because they honor God's laws, right? If they are in material world, they will go through that process, prarabdha and all that stuff. Tritap and all. It's not like, okay, flood is happening and they will enjoy immunity. They are part of that, but it doesn't have any impact as such on them.
So the fact that their consciousness is such that they are vidhe, that still doesn't call them immune. Is it like that, or?
Yeah. Immune means if it is meant to happen, they're not going to intervene just because it's happening in their avatar kal, right? They will let it happen. And if they are supposed to close their pastime as part of that event, so be it. They're not going to intervene. Nothing is going to change as such. They will play along. That's about it. Right? So that can happen. But if they choose certain things, right, they have a choice when to intervene on. Like, for example, I told you, right, Narmada, when Maharajji was doing satsang, Narmada started swelling. So when it started swelling, everybody said that when Narmada swells, it can happen pretty quickly. It can submerge all the areas, right? So the satsang is happening, and he said, all right, let's continue the satsang. Narmada will not do anything. So he drew a line there. He said, Narmada, I'll see to you if you cross this line. And it did not cross the line. So they may choose to, only they know that, right? But as such, are they going to stop a hurricane happening from the region where they are? Probably not. They will not do that. They don't intervene with gods as a matter of honor or respecting that, even though they may have the power or they may choose to, but typically they won't. Okay, we have about 8 more minutes before we wrap up our session. Any more questions on this topic? So I don't want to paint a very gloomy picture because we spoke about Tritaps. So the good news is that we are on the path of devotion. So Lord is with us regardless. So we have everything to gain. So when you roam around with something very, very powerful and something very, very precious, your mood is upbeat all the times. So devotee doesn't care basically. It's like whatever way you want to keep me. We don't get anxious or worry about, any of the tritap is going to hit me and then what's going to happen. No, we don't care about that. It's like whatever you desire. And when we do that, we are actually subscribing to the principle of surrender. And when we subscribe to the principle of surrender, we get grace. And when we get grace, it is good. Okay. Why grace is good, we'll talk about it in a different session when we talk in conjunction with the principle of surrender. But as a devotee, we don't worry about it. But it's good to know the kind of place that we are in so that we are not unnecessarily painting a rosy picture around ourselves like a lot of people would like to do, right? If you talk about life is good, LIG, right? I don't know LIG. I mean, it's good from a marketing standpoint, but actually it's not good actually. If you think about in the grand scheme of things, what are the possibilities of our life, human life, and what we are actually doing right now, it's definitely something that we need to be wary of, as opposed to indulging and thinking that everything is good and we have absolutely no incentive to do anything different. Yes, Rahul?
Yeah, I saw 2 lines related to that soul soup segment of the presentation in the beginning. So these are like काली का भरोसा तजु गोविंद राधे याने काल तेरा काली आने ही ना दे, which means that don't think or say that we'll be practicing devotion tomorrow, because you never know whether we will see tomorrow or not. Yes.
True. Very true. We need to be wary of the procrastination aspect of it and not wasting the time. Every moment is like it'll never come back. It's like we got 100K in our account, assuming we are going to live 100 years, which itself is a big deal. And then people celebrate their milestone birthdays, right? I mean, I'm not saying don't celebrate, but think of it. It's like you had 100K in your account and 40K is taken away and we are celebrating about it, right? What's the point of celebrating it? Yeah, we should do that, but then let's look at it in perspective as well. It's an opportunity gone. It's an opportunity lost. So from that standpoint, I think it's important to put good use of our time rather than frittering away those stones every day, like we spoke about in our Soul Soup segment. 24 precious stones are given to us every day, and it's important to make good use of it as best as we possibly can. Okay, please provide your feedback in the feedback tracker. Hope you're enjoying this Soul Soup segment. It really provides us a nugget every day along with our Bhagavad Gita discussion for something very practical that you can directly get inspired from, in addition to the discussion that we do as well.
Nitinji, are we planning to have Kahoot quiz on the Thanksgiving Day? And people are asking in
Go
the
ahead and
chat.
do that. If people are going to be that, if there's a lesser turnout, that's fine. Let's continue the session.
We'll do the individual one.
We'll do the individual one. Okay, let's announce that individual, no team one this time around.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I've gotten a microphone as well.
So नितिन जी अभी 2-3 मिनट में भजन 4 मिनट है एक भजन तो बनता
I
है
think yeah, you can sing a bhajan. Yeah. You have
This microphone is when we have time for bhajan, right? Today we don't have. How much time do we have?
4 minutes.
No, that's probably for the next time. But is the voice coming okay?
Yeah, but you'll have to continue to hold it close to your mouth.
Okay, is it
Otherwise, it modulates.
Okay, I'll experiment around with it. Also, the other thing, we can try some interesting stuff around with it, but just wanted to let you know. Okay, anyways, back to
You reminded us of Sunita ji, Sunita Chetri ji, and her excellent singing skills.
So, any other announcements, Rahul, or we are good?
I think we are good.
So please fill in the feedback tracker, provide your feedback, anything that you want to discuss. By the way, Avaji had asked a question that how do we think about God? It drifts apart, right? So if that's a bad news, the good news is that all of us struggle with that. Okay, that is how it's meant to be. So the stage in which we are, it is called preparatory stage is what we are in. It is called sadhan bhakti. So we have to forcefully take our mind away to God. So it's like when you throw a stone up, effort is required to throw it up. The stone will automatically come down. Similarly, our mind will gravitate towards world initially, but we need to give it trigger, reason, and stimulation to think about God. It could be an app, right? You can install JK Yoga app and you can set a reminder for yourself to think about God every 1 hour, every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes until it starts becoming a nature for you. So it will not automatically go. You'll have to force yourself. So that is called sadhan bhakti, where you have to give yourself reasons and create triggers for yourself periodically, start increasing the periodicity. And then, of course, once you're past that stage, then it is called Bhav Bhakti, where it becomes the other way around. Now your mind will be in God and you'll say, oh my God, my boss is coming and I need to step down and, be behaviorally competent. So that's hopefully we'll all get to that stage, or some of you might already have. But to begin with, we'll have to practice it like any other thing. It's not going to happen automatically.
One last thing, Nitinji, I wanted to add that for those of you who are in India, and if you plan to meet Swamiji, please definitely share your experiences with us. Yeah, you would be eager to hear.
Yes. And quick reminder, do we have time? I think quick reminder, if you are inspired because Bhagavad Gita Jayanti is coming, fill out in the feedback tracker. We'll start a series where you will come, speak for 5 minutes, how Bhagavad Gita has changed your life. What are the things that you feel have been really transformative for you? Just a quick video bite, and we'll start that series starting next Sunday. And I'll invite over different participants during the course of our discussions in different sessions, and we'll start that series starting this Sunday. So please fill in your name and contemplate upon the knowledge that you have gained, anything that has struck chord with you, and just talk about it candidly. We'll make it very spontaneous and a very natural video bite during the course of our discussion. So I look forward to those as well. So with that said, I think we can hand it over. I see Ajay and Sunil Bhai already there. So Radhe Radhe, thank you from my side. You can stay back for the next session. So see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day and great rest of your evening. Radhe Radhe, thank you from my side.
uh,